at the point where they crashed, unfortunately, together, then we had an advantage over Piastri. So actually, I think that the safety car wasn't having any effect, let's say, on our final part of the race.
Hello and welcome to this Akkodis Race Debrief. I'm Jodi, and joining us today we have Simone Resta to answer your questions from the Canadian Grand Prix. So Simone, what a fantastic weekend to kickstart off with. We've had the success of Dorian Pan in F1 Academy, George's pole to flag victory, and Kimi's very first F1 podium. How are the team feeling?
The team is feeling great. There's a lot of emotion and enthusiasm in the team. It has been a very positive start of the season for us, and this is just a great result at the right time in the season.
Yeah, I felt it was needed after that triple header as well, so we're on the right path. In terms of upgrades that we brought to track, how much were they a key performance for the car across the weekend?
I think every race we try to bring something, and there are incremental steps, so they're not game changers, and they always help. But I think that is our car was particularly well suited into this condition, and also we worked quite a lot on the setup and approach with the drivers, and I think we made a step with the car overall.
Because it was the upgrades from Imola as well, is that correct?
Yeah, first of all, we brought to Canada a development on the floor and also on the front brake duct, and also we tested again on Friday a rear suspension that was tested before in Imola, and then we confirmed it on Friday and we raced it on Saturday and Sunday.
Perfect. And then we've had a question coming in from a new fan. They are trying to understand a bit more of what made Kimi's performance so fantastic on track. Looking at the technical aspects, how did he get such that great start, overtaking Piastri and keeping him behind him at the start of the race?
Well, first of all, we have to remember that he's just the 10th race of his career in Formula One, so he's quite, say, new in the business still. And he was the first time he was racing in Canada, so a lot of new learning on a quite a difficult and technical track like Canada. He was able to, like you say, to start very well and then to defend in the first two corners to Piastri and actually gain position. And that I think it was a key step, let's say, for his race development. Then later in the race, he was able to fight for the first two stints with Max, always trying to overtake him, and Max was always defending and being able to pit stop before being overtaken. And at the end of the race, he was defending very well on Piastri. So very exciting performance, just a sign of his potential, and it's going to be fun.
Looking at strategy, I feel like we often highlight it when strategy maybe hasn't played out well. It was beautiful this weekend. How did we decide to go for that medium hard strategy?
Well, earlier in the week and also before the event, we were thinking to consider the option to do one stop, so medium and hard. But of course, you need to go on the track, understand how the tires are really lasting, and also see how the weather is changing. And during the weekend, for example, the temperature has been creeping up slowly, but a little bit step by step, which of course makes more and more difficult to do a one-stop strategy. In our case, we decided to stop early and defend onto a possible undercut from Max. That was our first stint, which of course then dictated also the development of the race. And then in the second stint, we decided instead to stay out more and gain tire advantage over Max.
How much was the safety car? Did that really impact us? Did it benefit us in any way towards the end of the race?
Kimi in the last stint was pushing quite a lot to try to catch up with Max, and then he got a bit more degradation on the tires. So therefore he started to defend on the McLarens, and at the point where they crashed, unfortunately together, then we had an advantage over Piastri. So actually, I think that the safety car wasn't having any effect, let's say, on our final part of the race.
We've seen that our car sometimes struggles in the higher temperatures. We didn't have that this weekend. So is that why it potentially worked so well for us in Montreal?
Well, that definitely helped our race because we had very little degradation and we were able to extend the runs and on a good pace. I think that every track has got different characteristic and requirements. You got different energy into the tires, you got different tarmac, so you got a combination of multiple variables, and in those conditions our car adapted well. And we've seen already that in some other tracks, like for example Bahrain or Spain, we were able to work on the setup and improve the performance. We struggled a little bit more in Imola, for example, but in those conditions I think with the learning of the races before we were able to put the car in a good spot.
And we saw George lay down that absolute amazing pole lap, and it was on the medium tyre. Why was the medium better than the soft tyre?
It's an interesting point, and we have seen already a first hint of this characteristic in Imola this year. And we have to remember that the medium tire that we've been racing here actually is the soft tire of last year. And all the compound has been shifted one shift toward the softer end of it. And we believe that the tires were similar in terms of overall lap time, with the soft maybe being maybe a bit quicker, or let's say similar lap time. But with the medium, we believe that it was a bit easier, let's say, to manage, and would also offer better performance on multiple laps.
We saw across the weekend George talking to Dorian Pin. How much do our drivers get involved in her preparation for races?
Well, first of all, it has been a very great weekend also for Dorian, as for all the team. We have had George winning, we have had Kimi on the podium, and we've had also Dorian winning. So it's been a great weekend, and George has been helping Dorian, but also the other drivers. She's part of the team, and there is a lot of collaboration between all our drivers, but also with the team and the engineers. The collaboration is there.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic seeing her leading that championship, and hopefully getting quite the lead now.
Absolutely, she's on a very good momentum, so we look forward to the next race.
So as we look ahead now for Austria, are we looking to have a repeat of the performance that we've seen in Montreal?
Yeah, I would sign everywhere just to repeat it, but I'm not sure it's going to be that easy. And we learned a lot from the start of the season in those conditions. Like I mentioned, we learned some characteristics in Imola, in Spain, and I think we'll be building step by step, let's say, our understanding going into Austria. Of course, we got also new parts coming into the car in those races that they will always help, let's say, in improving the performance. So let's see what we can get in Austria.